Evening, hello. Yeah, I hope we're doing good. I just thought I'd do this video because it's one of those that's come to me just in the last few months, and I've thought I'd ask this question because I don't know how many people are asking it, but it seems necessary to ask it. So let's have a look at this, and I'm not stating anything as a fact here, but it's something that has crossed my mind. And I just wonder if it's crossed anyone else's. Um, just so we're clear, yes, what is a psy-op, a psychological operation? It is well, it would be a planted, fake, manufactured, made-up event that was put out there into the public domain, either to serve as a look over their moment, as a distraction from other news, from other things that the people wanted you to look away from, or to steer, manipulate the public, possibly divide them into two sides, get them fighting each other. And don't be fooled that psyops never happen, because they certainly do. There'll certainly be unknown psyops. There'll certainly be events from history that we've all taken at face value and believed to be real and on the level. And there'll be an event somewhere. There'll be a psyop. It was somebody arranged for that to happen, or put it in the newspapers, or put it on television, or whatever, and it was used for that purpose. So yeah, let's not be naive. I'm not saying that anything is or isn't specifically. In fact, we know about that wars of the world. But let's have a look at what happened here then. So it was last year in 2023 that this trial of this nurse, Lucy Letby's ex-nurse, suddenly became a big thing. But the reality was that this had apparently been in play legally for several years beforehand. Letby had been arrested and interviewed several times. And she was now on trial for several counts of murder at the Chester Hospital where she had worked. There's a bit of a messy backstory about some of the people at the hospital making accusations at the time, insinuating things. But the upshot of all this, the final score of it, was that she was convicted, I think, on a majority verdict. It was after a long time. The jury was away for a long time, I think for a few weeks. And the evidence against Lucy Letby seemed very thin to me at the time when I saw it, and it had the look of the Texas sharpshooter fallacy about it. I don't, for the uninitiated, the Texas sharpshooter fallacy is, let's say somebody gets a gun, and they fire a series of bullets, at a screen or at a wall or whatever, and they then wander over to where all the bullet holes are, and they see a cluster of bullet holes, and they draw a target posthumously to make them look like a great shot. That's the Texas sharpshooter fallacy, and this case has that air all over it, because what they've done is that, and I'm taking this at face value, that they've lined up all the deaths that have taken place when she's been present. And they've gone, oh, those are the suspicious deaths, and look who was the only person who was there for all of them, while conveniently overlooking the fact that just as many deaths took place when she would have been nowhere near it off duty. This is, of course, it's worth pointing this out, actually, that according to the wrong backstory, and I think hours work would demonstrate this, actually. She was working more hours than usual and more hours than most people, because she was saving for the deposit on a house, apparently, and working all the overtime she could. So that's why she was there more often than most people. But that said, there were several deaths, in fact, nearly as many as when she was there, when she wasn't. So, you've got this question about Derry Evans, the expert who's been brought in, who appears to be the prosecution's star witness. And the whole question around, which deaths were suspicious and which ones weren't, and why. But it occurred to me at the time that any case against Lucy Letby was entirely circumstantial. There was no smoking gun. There was no person who was saying, I saw her do one of them, or if she confessed to one of them to me, or there's nothing on camera or anything like that. And yet, after the trial, and this is like, this is the misnomer here, and this is the strange incongruous nature of this, is that you had publications coming up with words like compelling to describe the evidence against her. There was compelling evidence. No, there wasn't. There wasn't compelling evidence at all. In fact, if the evidence was compelling, I don't think the jury would have been away for the thick end of a month. I think they would have gone for a few weeks. And now many of the same people are saying, we could have got this wrong. She could be innocent. Or at the very least, this case was never proven beyond reasonable doubt. Oh, which is it? Only one of those statements can be correct. And yet, while this swirl around potential innocence is going on, well, in July, she was convicted of another murder. So she's an absolute mess. An absolute mess. Given that this swirl around, maybe she didn't do them, is going around, perhaps we should refrain from putting her on trial for anything else until that is resolved or goes away. We've had, quite a lot of people, it's even going into the mainstream media now, that, there's big question marks about the evidence against her, i.e. was there any, really? And David Davis, the MP, was involved at one point not so long ago. I don't know if he still is. But he was making a big noise, and he was basically saying that it is considered opinion. She probably didn't do it. Well, taking all of this in, I'm going to take this at face value, then it is one of the strangest cases I've ever seen in terms of the sudden change in temperature and the sudden momentum shift from that this woman's basically like the new Beverly Allen. She's just another Beverly Allen, and she's an absolute fiend, and absolute. This woman's evil. She's the devil incarnate, and now there's this other group of people, or some people have changed their minds to thinking she's innocent. I think, hang on, you were saying she was a crazy psychopath. I mean, that's the matter when she was convicted. There were all these pop psychology videos turned up on the internet, breaking down, the psychology of a killer. Well, what if she wins on appeal? What are those pop psychology videos going to mean? Is this all pretty meaningless, And the other thing is that there's an absolute explosion of channels on here and elsewhere and podcasts and talking about did she really do it and trying to get her out, and the investigative journalism section of YouTube particularly does seem to be quite pro Letby. It seems to be the case that there are cyber sleuths out there who are dedicating hundreds of hours of their lives to trying to tell anyone who listen that that this conviction is unsafe and that it should be revisited. And it has become quite a rabbit hole for quite a lot of people. Just checking my notes here, like Madeleine McCann, Nicola Bulley, Michael Barrymore, and others, which makes you wonder, well, sometimes rabbit holes happen, they take people's lives over. There are people still playing online detective with the Madeleine McCann thing even now, and that was 15 years ago. And sometimes people just do, they get wrapped up in these things. Other times, of course, the rabbit hole is put there for you to fall down, and people do fall down it because it's, on the surface, it's an intriguing tale, it's a story, and it's one that some people can't resist. So I suppose that covers the face value side of it pretty neatly. And what I'll do is I'll just take a quick break. I'll make some further notes, and we'll go into what might be the reason you might think this could be a Psy-op, and what a Psy-op would look like, and what the purpose it might be. So Thoughts appreciated as always, and catch you very soon. Cheers.